hello. It is wonderful that you have said yes to the possibility of interviewing you, and I'm very glad that you chose this place, this library at the University of Florence for the interview, which I already admired. Could you tell me about this location, this library?
This is the library of the Social Science School at the University of Florence. It's a very large library with almost 1 million volumes, and include many resources. It's also a reference point for the student of the university in all the city, because there are many students that came here to study. Yes.
I understand
it's a special
that
place for us.
This library specializes in very old books. It has a collection of very old books dating, 1500s.
Yes, it is, because there is the heritage of the institute and academias that were at the university in the past century. The University of Florence is not so new, it's not so old, but the institute that were at the origin of the University of Florence are very old, among the oldest in the West.
I see. All right, so there are collections of very old manuscripts and books.
Exactly.
Could you name one?
And so the gift given by people that were oriented to these studies in law, in international relation, in
law, especially law,
yeah,
and
especially
history.
Law. Yeah, it
history.
is. Yes.
I see. All right.
Social science.
Social sciences. Okay. So now I want to know, when did you come to this university? What was your career?
I got my degree at the university as a student, a laurea, a BA here, exactly, and then I got a PhD in Scuola Sant'Anna di Pisa, and I worked in England for a while, and then I was back as a researcher. And it's about 20 years that I'm professor here.
Here at this university. And you are an economist, so you study...
I'm an economist.
All right, but in your book, and I understand, because you've been so close to the group of Gigerenzer, which I know so well, that you were and are very influenced by cognition and theories about psychological theories about decision making. How did the contact to cognition come about?
During my research training, I was oriented by my supervisors to work on authors like Herbert Simon, and so then in my research I discovered the research of Gerd Gigerenzer, and I asked him to meet him, to have the opportunity.
Do you know when? When was this? When did you?
In 2010. And I visit the Max Planck in Berlin for human development, the ABC group, first time early 2011. And then I visited them many times between 2011 and 2015, 16, I think.
And as I understand, you work closely with Konstantinos Katsikopoulos, who is a member of ABC.
Yeah, and probably is the one that was more with the researcher with who I interacted more often in my visit in Berlin, and not only with him, but especially with him. Yes.
All right. So now let's go to the topic of your book. What motivated you to write a book with the title Marketing, Automation and Decision Making?
Yes, this book came from this research path and these experiences. I was always oriented to study the marketers' behaviors.
Marketers' behavior, that is how marketers behave when they prepare plans for the consumers.
Yeah, exactly. And in general, when they interact in the markets, both consumer and business markets, and there is a tradition that look at a kind of asymmetry in the market in terms of rational behavior. So the marketers seems to be more skilled and more oriented also to manipulate the other parts in the market. And psychology is fundamental, I think, to study this. And anyway, also studying the behavior of the marketers is possible to understand it. Anyway, they are human. They work in the wild, they face uncertainty, and...
but we think usually that the consumers are innocent and the marketers are, you know, sly and very capable. But maybe they're also just humans, and so the marketers...
they are just humans. They are motivated by human motivation. And I worked on the marketing paradigm, the marketing discipline. That is another very interesting, I think, object, because it's very well known by everyone. But at the same time, there are many misunderstandings, many false ideas about marketing. For example, many think that marketing is just advertising or just sale. When marketing is something else, also is a paradigm, is a philosophy of approach to the market. And it's something that influences a lot on the evolution of the society.
I have now a question because I'm very ignorant on this. In economics, do people study a subject called market or marketing? Is there a subject, and you know, is there a tradition of theories on the market and marketing?
There are some parts of economics that are oriented to study the market phenomena. Anyway, also economics in general look at what happened. There is a theory of producer, a theory of consumer, and a theory of consumption especially, but this is economics. I'm more oriented to the business environment and marketing as a discipline and as a paradigm, and these include a certain view of the market that in the traditional marketing concept, at the end can be summarized in a set of rules.
Of rules, I see. All right, so this paradigm, there is a paradigm in the theory of marketing, and I imagine that students of marketing learn this paradigm. Could you describe it in a few words?
Yes, it includes three main rules. The first one is to be customer-oriented, to realize marketing activity in a way that is consistent, so that you should integrate the different marketing activity. And thirdly, to be oriented by margin, profits, more than by sales. And these rules include a kind of approach, a general approach to marketing. This is the marketing concept. Marketing concept that is a specific way, is not all the kind of marketing approach.
It's not arbitrary. It's
and it's included a set of recipes that are available for the marketers to get certain results. In that sense, they believe that to be customer-oriented is important, is a way to solve the uncertainty. So things are going, but if I'm customer-oriented, everything can go better.
I see. So now tell me about your book. So you were motivated to write a book with this title, and there is a subtitle which is The Role of Heuristics and AI in Marketing. So is this the novelty with respect to other existing books? Is that the special aspect of this book, the heuristics?
Yeah, and it is. There is a thesis in this book that is that in front of the emergence of automatization in marketing, and marketing automation is related to the rule of new technologies that imply, as each one of us can experience in our experience. It's easy to understand that I go online and I found advertising that is exactly related to my needs. Real-time advertising, or there are recommendation systems that work too fast to be produced by human behavior. It's an automatic process. Or there are ways to produce cluster, or to segment marketing, to produce cluster of clients that are realized automatically by artificial intelligence, and this kind of new emerging process imply a very different context in which not only the consumers, but also the marketer face uncertainty and need to approach the new tools, some rules and some heuristics. So heuristics can be a solution.
Yes. Now tell me, what is the audience you were looking at? So what is the audience for which this book has been written? Is it the man on the street? Can anybody pick up this book and understand it?
I hope that some parts of the book can be read by almost everyone, but especially the introduction maybe. But in general the book is a kind of advanced marketing, a marketing that, because there is a model in the marketing handbook that is very diffused, include market analysis, strategies, marketing policies. In this book, the idea is that the reader should have a basic culture in economics and in marketing to can understand the implication of the content.
So in some sense, the audience would be graduate students of economics or of marketing.
Yeah, and hopefully can be of interest also for psychologists and computer scientists that are oriented to look at marketing, and it is absolutely as a field in which they can apply the theory, their research. It can be a field, and it is absolutely for many psychologists. The behavior in markets can be very interesting and intriguing field of applied research.
You spend some time in the book, talking about heuristics and also, expanding on the difficulties of defining heuristics well and their ambiguities of heuristics. How did you choose your own path to treat heuristics?
I had thought a lot about this, how to approach, also because at the end I don't start as a scholar in heuristics, so I studied. It was a passion for me to understand better, because I realized that this kind of decision-making model based on few inputs, cues, at the end were so diffused, and I wasn't satisfied by an approach that looked only to the biases related to that. And I was very curious to understand better how, which are the building blocks and the processes among following which heuristics can be effective. So this relation with the environment, this adaptive capability, also this ecological approach to be selected by an history. Anyway, inside the marketing research, there were both the view, not only, especially in the part related to the study of consumer behavior, there was an important tradition of research related between marketing, economics and psychology also, that study all the biases, and it was very consistent with the view of marketing, in which marketers were mainly a manipulator, someone that manipulated.
Advertisement.
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely important aspect. So I start in the book to be the more inclusive I could, to give a perception of all the different aspects, on the different perspective under which the marketing literature approached the study of heuristics in the actors inside the market.
Okay.
At the end, also in marketing and also in the marketing model, you can look at the use of heuristics like rules, like recipes sometimes. For example, in pricing, the use of markups. You use a multiplier to define, to solve a huge problem, as defining the right pricing. This is rooted, and it can be, of course, a kind of algorithm, simply very simple, like tallying. You can also multiplying, and this basic operation, but very diffuse, very used. But at the same time, heuristics can be also tales details to produce narratives, exactly, narratives to describe, to present and to describe the brand, and to get in this way as result an easier recognition of the brand, and recognition is fundamental. It's recognition may be more important than real understanding of the advantage and disadvantage of buying a product. You recognize first of all, and this produces some effects.
Yes, yes. So once the graduate student or whoever has read the book, does this person have like a toolbox of heuristics to treat certain decision-making problems, especially when coping with technology?
Yeah. So the idea about that is that inside this revolution, because the marketing concept is put under strain by this new technology. It's not just something that you add to the traditional paradigm. You have really, you can look at this change in technology like a change of perspective, like a kind of new paradigm. In this new paradigm, you can have the view on marketing automation like substitution of humans, or like augmentation of human capability. These are two approaches.
What is your approach? Is it augmentation of the human capability, or is it replacement?
In some cases you have replacement, but the added value is really in augmenting the human capability. And how to integrate the machine with the human. Heuristics, I produce in that sense some deep interviews with marketers in organizations that are adopting artificial intelligence, more than 20 organizations, and in this deep interview emerge the use of heuristics in the interface, between the new artificial intelligence tools and the human marketer, the behavior of the marketers. So this is.
So the heuristics can be seen, some of them at least, as tools for the interaction between the AI tools and the human.
In the more adding value part of the process of marketing automation. In the less adding value component, probably you can have substitution. But in the most important part, and probably the largest part of the value, because of the reducing the economics emerging from automation, the largest part of the economic value, we are in economics, so we thought every time about that, will be more oriented to this interface between the human component and the artificial intelligence tool. And this probably the thesis of the book is that this increase, not decrease, it will be a huge increase of the role of heuristics inside the marketing process.
I see. Yes, this is very, very interesting. So the interviews that you conducted and are reproduced in the book, how did you choose? What was the criterion to choose the industries that you interviewed?
So it was an exploration, first of all, as you can understand, and using qualitative methodology related to social sciences. In social science we use ethnography, we use deep interviews, we use this kind of traditional tool. In that sense, it's a qualitative study based on the use of these traditional approaches, and then I selected I tried to be, because of the exploration, to look not to just a segment, but to have an heterogeneous, different kind of organization, different kind of industries in which the organization worked, and both small and big firms, very diversified. The fact that, of course, it cannot be generalized, but the idea is to demonstrate that there are many black swans in different ecological contexts, and this means something, I think, also because the topic is very new. I got a lot of content from the literature, but not looking at this. So I used many researchers from related papers and articles and research reports, but not looking at the relation between automation and the use of heuristics.
Yes. Now I would like to ask something connected with my topic of research at the moment, which is the impact of evolution, of environmental aspects, which of course has an impact on industries, and the marketers. It is difficult, to try to impose more waste of expensive materials, etc., in an era when everybody knows that we have problems with environment. So is this an aspect that is changing a bit, perhaps, the marketing strategies?
Of course, marketing, as all the economy today is invested by this, but I think marketing especially, because marketing by itself is oriented to follow the customer, but at the same time there is a huge a huge capability to influence, also to manipulate, of course, but also to influence the market. So the role that marketing can have is important, and today more than in the past, because the tools are very powerful.
Yes. So would you say that the marketers could be capable of directing the markets so that the awareness for environmental problems on the side of the consumers becomes larger, and the market is adaptive, to the needs of people who are more concerned with environmental problems and will choose in that direction?
The new technologies probably are changing the position between marketers and consumers in terms of capability to manipulate, in the sense that one time it was easier to understand that the marketers were also choice architects for the consumer. Today is not always the same, because there are other levels. Many marketers use the same platforms than consumers, and there are both working in the same context, and probably the asymmetry in terms of power is changing. Changing, and the platform are becoming another level. In that sense, we have always to recall that inside the market we have marketers that realize the offerings, consumers, customer, the demand, but there are also many influencers. And these many influencers that are not demand or offer or supplier, but are playing a role. And this is more and more important, because we are working in context in which there are many actors that can intervene. Exactly.
Yes. This is very interesting, because the influencers, as we know, they have their own experience with, things they buy, and through this own experience, which they talk about, also have a great influence. That's why they are influencers on consumers' behavior. So that is something that the marketer has not yet taken into account. Or is there a dialogue between influencers and marketers?
At the end, I think that part of, because I work on automation, part of this influence can be embedded in the tools. Part of this influence can be embedded in the tools. And also on this respect, I think heuristics can be something that can always be used as terms to have in our personal toolbox, to be able to have also another perspective with which to compare what's emerged by the artificial intelligence that we produce, because sometimes artificial intelligence can do huge mistakes. Also our experience, it's improving, but so heuristics can be something that help us also under this respect, I think.
There is an aspect of education which is interesting for me. You know, in schools, for instance, in Germany, you teach a little bit of economics and a little bit of about markets and so on. And the message is to try to make future adults independent of markets. You know, to keep your independence and keep your choices more or less, you know, in agreement with your principles, with your moral principles.
You have to build your identity, or the rules that you follow define your identity, contribute to the
and that is should be independent from the markets. So the person, the adult that comes, should be independent of, you know, what the market wants, but yet the market should understand the, you know, the ethical values of these young people and adults, and act accordingly. So there is a process of adaptation between you know, the market and
reciprocal adaptation. It's we have to understand also that many decision making are interactive. So we can be manipulated, but many decisions are also interactive. So also the actor can be the marketers can be exactly. And this is evident today, for example, about the subject of sustainability, where there is the feeling of these needs and wants of the demand, but many actors, many marketers are working on this aspect. The problem is that sometimes there are some paradoxes in this, in the sense that if you look, for example, to sustainability, you have to understand if you want to realize to recycling process, product, or reduce emission, not always they are aligned. Sometimes recycling doesn't mean to reduce emissions. So, but in this sense, the culture is important. It's fundamental to produce a better interactive decision process.
Yes, and of course, just the increment of gains cannot be the only principle today for the marketers. You know, to have more consumers using and buying whatever product you produce, but also that this product should be somehow adaptive to the new discussions on sustainability, climate, etc. So we have the problems in the, you know, in the forests of the Amazon, that there is a deforestation which is wild, and there is a lot of market, of course, but we are killing the forest. So there should be rules again, and you know, the market should adapt, constantly adapt.
In the market arrive about these arrive some influences related, for example, to the use of certain ingredient in producing product for the food and beverage industry in general. This can be also an example, but at the same time is not always clear. Not many consumers know exactly which is the relation between the choice that they do and the implication for the environment.
That's education. That's education. The purpose of education,
for sure.
Which is very important. Now, tell me, how long is the book already in the market, and how is the marketing of this book? Are things going well with the book?
So in this sense, the book was published last December 2023. And exactly, so it's 3 months.
Recent.
It's very few. I don't know exactly what is happening. The publisher will know. I'm very happy to be able to write this. I hope that I felt the need to write this at the end of a long path of research. We have also to produce something, because timing is important. When you have the ideas, you have also to realize that. And I hope that reading the book can be of interest for people that is interested in the connection. It's a fascinating field. I hope that the scholar of the future can continue to work on this, because it's probably the future not only for business but for all the society. The evolution of marketing is an important aspect of our society.
Yeah, thank you. So thank you for having answered these primitive questions. I have not yet read the whole book. I only read the beginning. But
You're
I'm
very welcome,
interested.
and thank you for your question, because give me the opportunity also to rethinking the research path, and maybe I can produce something else.
Thank you so much, and I hope to see you
Grazie.
again. So thank you for having watched this interview with Simone Guercini, the author of this book, Marketing, Automation and Decision Making, the Role of Heuristics and AI in Marketing. If you liked it, please click some likes. Please continue visiting our website, Bounded Rationality in Education, and share it with your friends. Thank you.